As a parent of a basketball player, one of the most important things that you do is decide who their trainer is, who they're working out with. As a varsity head coach and a trainer, I see a lot of parents make these three mistakes when it comes to picking the right trainer for their player. The truth is, a lot of trainers might look great on Instagram, they might have your child sweating every workout, and they might keep you coming back, but they actually might be hurting your player's development. In this video, I'm going to break down 3 big red flags that your trainer is wasting your child's time and your money, and then I'll tell you what you should be looking for so that you make sure you put your child in the best position to develop to the highest level that they can. Before I get into it, if you're interested in any of this stuff, I have a free basketball parent starter kit down below. We talk about this stuff plus 2 more red flags and a bunch of other things when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to AAU, when it comes to how you can best help in your player's development. Completely free. Make sure you check that out in the top link down below in the description. The first major red flag when it comes to basketball trainers is that they don't ask questions to you or to your child. If a trainer's not asking questions, then they can't fully know what they should be working on, what your child needs to be focusing on, and how to tailor what they're doing to help them see the best results on the court. They should be asking things like, what position do you play? What do you do best on the court? What are you most confident doing? What are you not confident doing? What do you feel like your weaknesses are? And then even broader questions like, what do you want to get better at long term? What does your team do on offense? What do your coaches tell you need to work on? Now, there's 2 reasons for this. This is as much about the actual workouts. So first of all, we want them to be focusing on the right things, the things that are actually going to matter. If your child needs to get better as a ball handler against pressure, well, that needs to be a focus in the workouts that they're doing. If they need to get better at finishing with their left hand, that needs to be a focus in the workouts that they're doing. But not just those things, right? We also want to think about helping your child develop self-awareness when it comes to their own development. So when they are asked these questions, a lot of times they may not have an answer right away. They may not have really thought about, well, what is it that I need to get better on? What am I good at? What am I not great at? What should I be focused on? And by having a trainer who asks these questions consistently, your child is always thinking about their game, thinking about their development, being able to self-assess. And that's how you develop the self-awareness that the best players have. The biggest switch that I see when it comes to a player's development is when I first see them and they don't have a ton of ownership, they don't have a ton of self-awareness when it comes to their own development, and then me helping them get to the point where they now take so much ownership in the things that they need to be working on. They understand exactly where they're at and where they want to get to, but it's really hard to get there if you don't have a trainer who's asking them these things and challenging them to have answers for them. When I first started off as a trainer, I went into every workout thinking that I had all the answers. We're going to do this drill. This series is going to be really good. And that was awesome. What I started to recognize as I was around really good trainers, talking to them, seeing how they approach their workouts, seeing how they interact with the players that they're helping develop, they ask so many questions. And so the difference for me now is that for pretty much any high school player or any college or pro player that I'm training or working with, I'm going into that workout without a set, clear plan on exactly what we're going to do for however long we're going to be there. Instead, I'm starting off that workout asking them, hey, what is it that you want to work on today? And it might be as simple as that. And that's a very backwards thing for a lot of trainers because they're supposed to have all the answers. But I want to make sure that I'm putting those players in the best position to, again, not only get better at the things that are important, but to make sure that they're thinking about it. Especially when I'm working with high school players, they'll come in and I'll ask them that question. I'll say, hey, what do you want to work on today? And a lot of times they've never been asked that question, so they don't have an answer for me. I'll tell them, okay, well, don't worry about it today, but the next time I ask you, you better have an answer for me. You better think, what is it that I want to get better at? What is it that's going to matter most to me in games so that when I ask them that again, they build that self-awareness and we make sure that everything we're doing is tailored to helping them. The second red flag in a trainer is that there's never any live play or any decision-making in their workouts. This is by far the biggest red flag that I see when it comes to basketball trainers. The stuff that they're working on in those workouts is not going to apply into games, or it's not going to transfer as much as you would want it to, as much as they want it to, if there's no training on how to actually apply those things. It's not enough to just talk about the what. As basketball trainers, we refer to ourselves as skill trainers, but the definition of a skill is more than just the what. There's actually 3 parts to it. The first part is the perception. So your child being able to be on the court, be in a situation and perceive what's happening, perceive all of the options that they may have. Okay, the lane to my left is open, my teammate's cutting, and seeing whatever options they have. The second part of a skill is the decision. So which is the best option to be successful here? Do I make the pass? Do I take a dribble to my left? Do I take a dribble to my right? What do I do? Can you make a good decision? And then the third part is the what. That's the shot, that's the dribble move, that's the finish, whatever. So if all that they're doing in their workouts is the what and there's never any perception or decision that has to be made, they're going to get into games with incomplete skills, and it's not going to translate. Now, there's multiple ways that a trainer can add decision making or add perception into workouts. Number one is just by giving them different reads. So I'll put some examples up on the screen of what this might look like, but maybe giving them a pass and then closing out to one side or the other to force a specific drive. Maybe you work on finishing and they're providing different looks as like a help defender. This way, your player is working on being able to perceive what's going on, being able to make a decision on the best course of action, and then actually being able to physically execute the skill. And that's how you build skills that translate into real games. Now, the second way that they can add decision-making, add perception into workouts is with live defense with other players. This is a big part of why my big thing is that you should not overlook small group training. And as someone who's done this for a while now, and I've done a ton of one-on-ones, I've done a ton of group sessions. I prefer group sessions because it allows us to better target the 3 steps of every skill. A lot of parents especially are so caught up in getting their child one-on-one training, and there's certainly a time and place for it, but I really think that group training, small group training is just a better use of time, and they're going to see better results that translate into games. Now, the difference is when we talk about one-on-one training, it's going to look prettier. They're going to look like they're getting better because the challenge isn't as high. They're probably not being asked to perceive or make decisions. So it's going to feel really good watching them succeed every single time when they're in a one-on-one session. But they're going to get into a game. And like I said, if those first 2 parts of the skill haven't been worked on, then they're going to struggle to translate anything over. Meanwhile, if you have group sessions where they're going against defense, they're working in different situations, even though it's going to look a little uglier and they're not going to be quite as successful in those workouts, they're going to translate that way better into games. So a combination of the two is probably best, one-on-one training as well as group training. But if you only go with one, my recommendation would be small group training. And then when they're by themselves, when they have time, they can work on some of those skills by themselves. And the third red flag when it comes to basketball trainers is that they use basketball as a way to mask a cardio workout. There's nothing wrong with working hard, and conditioning is obviously an important part of basketball. But if the majority of the workout is just them running through cones or doing a ton of suicides or 17s or just doing overly long circuits with the basketball in their hands, this is probably not developing them from a skill perspective as much as they could be getting developed. A great trainer is going to make conditioning a byproduct of the actual learning that they're doing. So if they're in a group, they're going to do this by making sure that players are playing offense and defense, that there's minimal time in between reps so they're up and they're going the entire time. And you're probably going to be able to tell if they're actually getting better at their skills or if they're just leaving the gym really sweaty and really tired. There's something to be said for building that conditioning, maybe building mental toughness, but they can run by themselves. If you're paying a trainer to help develop their skills, you need to make sure that that's actually what's going on. And again, they're not just paying to have a nice cardio workout. These are 3 of the biggest red flags that I see with trainers. So if you see these in the trainer that your child is working with, might be a good idea to look at other options. Like I mentioned before, I have a free basketball parent starter kit down below. We go through 2 more red flags that I see a ton in trainers, and as well as way more stuff. So go check that out, completely free down below. Appreciate you for watching. If you have any questions, anything you want me to cover, make sure you drop a comment, let me know. Thanks for watching. Peace.